In our last video, we were talking about the background and we colorized, adding the filter that colorizes our radial gradient. And now we're going to close this group. These little arrows right here help us collapse these groups as we're working with them. We don't want too much to show. So we're finished with the background for now. And we're going to create a new group. And we can go to Object and then create a new group here. And you'll see that the shortcut for that is Shift-Command-N. Now we're going to retitle this, and it's a good idea to title everything as you're working with it so you know what exactly you're working with. We're going to name this Title. So this is going to be our title layer, and we want it to be on top. Now we are going to use a Photoshop document that's already been created, and we're going to add it to our motion. Now there's two ways that you can do this. The first is to hit the import button, which actually is a merge. It merges all the layers into one layer. Or you can import each layer either collectively or individually. So to do the latter, we are going to hold down the mouse button and drag it to the title, and we're going to hold it there until we have a pop-up menu. Import merged is the same as the import on the preview. We can import each layer. You see there's 3 layers listed here, or we can import all 3 layers at the same time. So that's what we're going to do right now, is import all layers. And you'll see that now I have lines, title, and title back. And just to make this a little bit more organized, I'm going to select each of these layers. I can hold down the command button and select each one, or I can hold down the shift button and select the first one and the last one, and it'll select everything in between. With these 3 selected, I'm now going to drag these 3 selected up, and I'm going to put it inside the title. When it becomes a white rectangled outline, then I can let go, and that's going to move our layers. Now this is empty. This one title layer is now empty. It's not a group anymore because it's only a single layer. So we're going to go ahead and delete that one. We want to enlarge our title layers, and we want to do that collectively. So instead of just doing one at a time, we're going to select the whole group, and we're going to go to the inspector, and the shortcut for the inspector is Command 3. Command 1 is your file browser, Command 2 is your library, Command 3 is the inspector. Now we're in the group right now, but we actually want to change the properties of the group. And we're going to change the scale to 180. So I'm going to select the 100 and then just type in 180 and then hit enter. And this will enlarge the scale for the whole group. So now what we're going to work with is the in-between. So we have our title, we have our background. We're going to create another group. So Command, Shift, and N to create a new group. We're going to retitle this Graphics Under. So it's going to be the graphics under the title. The documents that we're going to add to our graphics under group are found in our file browser. So I'm going to hit Command 1 to go to my file browser. Within this same group where we had the background and the title, we need to find the one that says Brayer 03A. We can click on that and then we can hit import, or we could drag it to the graphics under. As long as we have graphics under, we can import that graphic to it. Now in this one we want to rotate our graphic. So from the center you'll see this little line out. That's our rotation handle. And so we're going to grab the little blue circle and we're going to rotate it counterclockwise 90 degrees. If you can't get quite to 90 degrees, if you hold the shift button down, it will snap to the 90 degrees. I'll let go of the mouse button and then I let go of the shift. We're going to drag this down and we're going to sort of line it up underneath the documents to document the years. So I've lined it up with the D. So my left line is even with the D, and then right underneath my top line of the box is right underneath the document the years. So it follows that line that's already there. So if I deselect that, then you'll see that it's underneath. The next file we want to find is Brayer03B. And again, we're going to import this. And we're going to take this one and we're going to drag it to the left side about a quarter of the way down, maybe a third of the way down from the top. And we want this bright line to be just right of our long line from the title. So once we have it in place, we're going to duplicate this layer, so Command D to duplicate, and you'll notice that it got a little bit darker because we've added a separate layer that's very similar. So we're going to drag this down so we can see the difference between them. And on this one, we're going to rotate it down 90 degrees. And again, if you hit the shift button, it'll take it to the closest 45 degrees. We're going to resize and relocate this graphic now. What we want to do is have it to in between the two document the years and the one that we just created. So we're going to scale it down, and if I hold my shift button down, it does it proportionally, and then I'm going to drag it down until I can get it to the place I really want it to be. I think I need to be a little bit smaller, so holding the shift button down, taking one of those, and about right there, and then we'll relocate it just a little bit more. So it's parallel with that long line, and it sort of lines up just above the line of text. The T is a good place to line it up to. So my white square, I'm going to line up with the T, and it should be in between that space. So this top is just underneath, and then the bottom is right above the to document the years. Let's go ahead and save everything at that point. So we're still in the graphics, we're still working on our texturing of our document. The next thing we're going to look for is the Brayer06A, and that is this almost full screen black section. Again, we're going to import it, and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. So we're taking the blue circle, hold the shift button down, and then we have it at the 6 o'clock or 90 degrees clockwise. We're going to move it to this empty corner right over here, and we'll have to make it show up a little bit better. It's under the title, but it's kind of hard to see the title because it's the same color. So we have to colorize our image. Now we're going to go to the filters, which is this icon here, the film strip with the little square above it. We're going to color correction and then colorize. Now most of this is black, so we're going to remap the black part and not the white part. There's not a light area to it. So we're going to remap it, and we're going to make it a yellow color, but we're also going to make it a little bit darker. So it's sort of like almost like a mustard yellow right there. The other thing that we want to do with this layer, and we're going to go back to the Brayer 6 layer, we're going to lessen our opacity, and we're going to lower it to about 20%. And get as close to 20 as you can. So in this case, using the slider, it's 19.71, or I can go to the inspector and actually change my opacity to 20 exactly. And now I'm going to drag it up a little bit so this white part is just under the document, or you can see it's moving, it's right in line with the document, and then slightly more, so it's kind of, let's stretch it a little bit so it's going out into that darker area. So we're pretty much evening it out, so it's reaching the edge now. Let's duplicate this layer. So Command D, and you'll see that once you again, it's a copy right on top of the other one, so it's going to make that one pop out a little bit more until we move it. So let's move it over to the other side, and now we're going to, let's do this 180 degrees. And we kind of want it to, we're going to make it a little bit smaller because that side is smaller. And we're going to move it to where it's sort of just with this reaching between the edge and that line a little more. And again, we already have the colorize here, but we don't want it the same color. So let's change this color to a grayish color. So if I take my circle back to the middle, instead of an actual color, it changes it to a little white, and then I can change my tint or my shade to the color that I'm looking for, which is a somewhat a lighter gray. And go ahead and save your progress at this point, Command S, and we'll stop with the video at this time, and then we'll start up next.